The LGBTQ+ rainbow community must add a P, according to the World Economic Forum in Davos, which has declared that paedophilia is an acceptable sexual orientation that deserves respect. According to Klaus Schwab and his globalist cronies, paedophiles must be added to the protected class of citizens in Western countries, who identify as LGBTQ and enjoy the benefits of hate crime protection. Under Schwab's directive, in countries including Trudeau's Canada, anybody found guilty of insulting a paedophile could face 5 years to life in prison. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the People's Voice Locals community to join our incredible community and support the channel. Schwab boasted that the WEF had completely infiltrated the Canadian government, and now we're seeing what that dystopian vision looks like in reality. The Daily Telegraph reports that Trudeau is seeking the power to imprison Canadians who the government suspects might commit a hate crime in the future. That's right. The Canadian government is going to make thought crimes punishable with decades in prison. It seems as though Trudeau read Orwell's 1984 and thought that makes a great instructional manual. The thought crime policy will form part of Trudeau's far-left fascist online harms bill, which cracks down on any opposition to the regime's authoritarian agenda. One of the measures within the bill would grant the power to place individuals under house arrest and force them to wear an electronic tag if the state believes that the individual might commit a hate crime in the future. But it gets even worse. Wait until you hear what the WEF-infiltrated Canadian government considers a hate crime. Hint, it involves hurting their feelings by using nasty words to describe the WEF's protected class of people. This appeals to the WEF and their vision of destroying the family unit and depopulating the earth. The WEF, which has ordered their army of influencers to begin pushing the narrative, wants to introduce an international policy that will require the majority of countries to decriminalise or at the very least relax their laws against paedophilia.
Most of us feel discomfort when we think about pedophiles. But just like pedophiles, we are not responsible for our feelings. We do not choose them. But we are responsible for our actions. And we must make a decision. It is our responsibility to reflect and to overcome our negative feelings about pedophiles, and to treat them with the same respect we treat other people with. We should accept that pedophiles are people who have not chosen their sexuality and who, unlike most of us, will never be able to live it out freely if they want to lead an upright life. We should accept that pedophilia is a sexual preference.
As though that wasn't disturbing enough, other WEF influencers are convincing their followers to accept and cherish paedophiles as valuable members of society with unique gifts and insights due to the suffering they go through every day.
Yes, from an emotional point of view, I can kind of understand that you would want to eliminate these people from society. However, it doesn't make sense. And that's because we're talking about biology. We're talking about a sexual orientation. Something that we simply cannot change. And on top of that, every day new people are born with the same difficulty. So it's not practical to eliminate these people from society. They haven't done anything wrong.
Raping and torturing children and ruining their lives does not equate to doing anything wrong, according to the global elites. But insulting paedophiles and other protected species could result in decades in prison in Canada and other Western countries. Something has gone very wrong here, and you'd be forgiven for failing to understand exactly what is going on. It's only when you delve into the deep reptile brain of the psychopathic elite that their depraved logic can be understood. We'll explain more after this important message from our sponsor. Judging by events in Spain last month, the movement to normalise paedophilia is succeeding. Parents were outraged as footage emerged of children aged 9 and younger being paraded around the streets wearing burlesque-style lingerie, nipple shields and wigs, with rainbow pride flags attached to their backs. Meanwhile, in Germany, the government are considering proposals to open body exploration rooms for young children who wish to explore their sexuality with adults. The elite are obsessed with legalising paedophilia, and they're pulling out all the stops to gaslight the public into accepting their disgusting vice. The New York Times, always at the forefront of the globalist agenda, ran an op-ed arguing that paedophilia is not a crime. Not to be outdone, CNN countered with an article proclaiming that paedophiles are not monsters or social deviants living in the shadows. According to CNN, it's high time for society to update its image of paedophiles. CNN followed up this article with an even more explicit call for sympathy. According to CNN, we should reach out to them and seek to understand child rapists because one cannot choose not to be a paedophile. The psychologist Jesse Bering, author of Perv, the Sexual Deviant in All of Us, also urges the reader to sympathise with child molesters, writing that people with paedophilia aren't living their lives in the closet, they're eternally hunkered down in a panic room. Salon also got in on the act, urging us to meet and accept so-called virtuous paedophiles who supposedly want the best for our children. And the BBC, which spent decades covering up for Jimmy Savile, Britain's most notorious paedophile, also wants us to think positively about so-called new paedophiles. The movement has made its way to Congress now too. When Clash says jump, Democrats say how high. The elite's fascination with crimes against children confuses many normal people who can't find it within themselves to understand such depraved tastes. The award-winning former 60 Minutes journalist Lara Logan explains why the global elite are so obsessed with raping and torturing children. As Logan explains, the elite are determined to defeat God.
Because one of the things I asked him is, I said, I get it, but I don't get it. The children. You got to, I have such a problem with this. You got to explain this one to me. And he said, well, first of all, you're looking at it the wrong way. I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, they don't define children the way you do. They don't define the world the way you do. The choices that you face are not their choices, right? They look at it completely differently. And I said, well, okay, so how do they look at it? And he said, for them, everything is defined by their one fundamental, all-consuming purpose. I said, which is what? He said, to defeat God, right? Because this is the moment. I mean, for them, it's about the real God. The true gods are them and Satan, there, right? And so he said, children are the closest thing on earth to God. Because we are created in the image of God. And as, you know, from the moment we're created, we haven't had time to be corrupted and to stray. So for them, the younger you are, the closer you are to God, the more pain they can inflict on God. So the more you can make a baby or a small child suffer, the greater your victory over God. And that is the only consideration for them. Outside of that doesn't exist.
Here at The People's Voice, we've been warning about the elite's God delusions for many years. Lara Logan's words should be taken very seriously. While they may be shocking to many, her words are, if anything, an understatement. They are waging a spiritual war against our children that shows no signs of abating. The reprobates have now unveiled a new flag to further their push for the normalization of their vice, as they continue to push for civil rights for paedophiles. According to the pro-paedophile movement, April the 25th is Alice Day, a special day for paedophiles to celebrate their God-given sexuality. The reference is to Lewis Carroll, the author of Alice in Wonderland, who is allegedly a paedophile himself. Watch your children and keep them safe. This is one rabbit hole you don't want them to go down. Here at The People's Voice, we are determined to continue exposing the crimes of the elites, but we need your help. Subscribe to the channel, tell your friends and family about us, and join the People's Voice Locals community for exclusive and uncensored content. We can't do it without you. Today's video is brought to you by IPv6ers. Are you a content creator who wants to publish information online without Big Brother spying and censoring your every move? IPv6ers is set to revolutionize the way information is disseminated on the internet by eliminating the need for big tech companies to provide unreliable, overpriced services such as self-hosting, email, and data management. IPv6ers enables an easy and accessible way for you to host your own web and email server with direct end-to-end connections and enhanced security. This means no snooping from Big Brother and no interference from the technocratic elite. If Hillary Clinton can get away with running her own server, why shouldn't you? Go to thepeoplesvoice.tv/IPv6 to sign up, or click the link below this video to take back control of the internet and win the info wars against the globalists. If you like our content, help support our sponsor IPv6ers and go to thepeoplesvoice.tv/IPv6 today. Thank you IPv6ers for making this video possible.